Good morning, everyone. Before I really get started, I want you to take a moment to think about your own family. I want to give you a heads up. I'm not doing this assignment alone. I have a classmate who has helped me with this assignment by the name of Crystal Stables. Crystal, thank you. But I want you guys to, before we get started, we're going to dive right in. I want you to take a moment and I want you to think about your own family. And while you're thinking about your family, I want you to think about someone close to you. Is there someone that you've grown distance from, or maybe someone that you've completely just cut off? I mean, if you give me a moment, I can think about a few people. In this thinking, I want you to, if you don't have anything to share, I just want you to or think about it. I want you to just sit in this today. Take a moment to sit in it. It isn't about criticism. This is about strictly business. This is about sitting with the thoughts. You don't have to share it, but I want you to sit with that just for a second. Okay. Because what we're about to talk about today isn't just about the theory, it's real life. Today I'll be presenting on the family members, the video we saw. I hope you get a chance to watch it. But we're going to focus on distance and emotional cutoff using ideas from the Bowen Family Systems Theory. One of the biggest things this theory teaches us is that we don't leave our families, we carry them with us. We carry them into our relationships, we carry them into our parenting, we carry them into our stress, and even how we communicate day to day. So today we're going to break down how these connections or disconnections impact us, not just individually, but as a whole. We're talking about our entire family system. We're talking about across generations. So today, what I'll cover in the next 4 to 5 minutes is going to be about what emotional cutoff actually is, how distance shows up in families, how extended families impact the nuclear family, and what happens over time when people stay connected versus disconnected. Now, if you want to get a snack or a drink, that is okay with me because I have my drink here. And I'm going to be taking a few sips just in between our lesson. So today we're going to get started as of right now. Let's talk about emotional distance versus cutoff. This we're going to define the key patterns. So when you think about distance and cutoff, distance is more gradual, less communication, fewer visits, the kind of drifting apart. And when you bring in cutoffs, this is a more extreme, no contact. This is the emotional shutdown, the complete separation. Now, if you have a family such as the one I have, this is going to be a very important part. Cut off usually doesn't happen randomly. It often is a result of conflict, hurt, or feelings of overwhelmness within the emotional body or the emotional mind. If I can give to you an example, if this will bring it in home to you and make it more clear, I want you to think about, a particular time. Let's say someone grew up with a very critical parent. And as an adult, they might say, I'm done. I need that. I don't need that energy. I mean, I have 6 kids. I've had kids tell me that I don't need that energy. I think I've told my parents that I don't need that energy. And so they cut off the parent. Thank God I haven't had any children cut me off, but I have cut a few of my people off. And at first, it feels real peaceful, and but over time, something interesting happens. What happens is that the struggle gets real with the feedback within the relationship, meaning they become defensive or they become they avoid the conflict completely. So the question is, the question becomes this: did the problem actually go away, or did it just move? Did it just move? That's what this theory pushes for us to think about. And I've done a lot of thinking when it comes to this particular part, even from my prior experiences. This is where Murray Bowen comes in. He introduces the idea that the family operates as an emotional system. We think about one key concept, and that is the triangle. A triangle is a three-person system that forms tension, and it builds over time. As an example, if there's conflict between two parents, one of them might pull in a child, venting to the child, your daddy is just not getting his stuff together, and that's a triangle. You get my drift. And seeking comfort or shifting the focus. This reduces stress temporarily because it's not going to go anywhere. It's built there. You're building it, but it may be long term, and it will be long term, and it may not show up like next week, but it will definitely show up. And what it's doing is creating confusion, and it's creating this emotional pressure for the third person. So you're sitting silent with that question I asked you at the beginning. Is there a third person? Another important concept is the differentiation. And this is huge. This means that being able to connect to your family while still thinking and feeling for yourself. Now, low differentiation, this looks like reacting emotionally. It looks like cutting off people who not being able to deal with your stress or depending too much on others. And when you think about high differentiation, this looks like staying calm under stress. This looks like a grown person. This looks like someone who's able to communicate clearly, who knows what they want, who's able to maintain the connections without losing themselves. This is someone who is mature. This is someone who has been through life and has allowed the patterns to show up, but also make a conscientious decision that they are not going to continue with those patterns within their day to day, especially if they have children or if they're married, right? Because it will show up. It will show up. So this is very, very important. So as we move forward to talking about importance of the connection, right? This healthy connection is just isn't talking about, how can I say it? The connection isn't just talking all the time. We think we have to talk to our people or our families all the time, or we have to be physically close. It isn't about always emotional presence, or sometimes, depending on what part of your relationship you're in. It's about consistency and genuinely interaction, meaning that you can use social media to call or to chat. We have TikTok. We have all these things that you can utilize in your day to day to show that you are a part of the family. You are connected. We have to pause and let people really grasp that. So I want to take a moment for you. I want you to really think, what are some ways that I can stay connected? I gave you a few. That's what I use, but how can you stay connected today? I don't want to give you all the answers, but I want you to be a part of this lesson. I want you to be a part of this video. I want you to be a part of this. I know some of you are saying FaceTime, texting, group chat. Yes, these are very, very important. So even if people don't live close, the connection is still possible. And when you think about, if you go and read the American, I think it's the um, um, Psychological Association, they had an article that talks about strong social connections, and they are linked to lower anxiety, lower depression, and better overall health. That was an awakening for me. So connection isn't just about just emotional. It's actually about protective too. You have to also protect in a way, but you also have to be protecting self, but you also have to be open enough to be able to share. So there's times when people don't want to be in the proximity of their, which we're going to talk about in another couple of slides. They don't want to be in the proximity of their family members, but you can always call, get on the phone. There's ways we can do this. This is really good, huh? When it comes to effects on the family, when people stay connected beyond their household, it changes everything. It changes everything. Let me give you a comparison. So if we have person A, let's just say person A, they have a family, they have family support, they talk things through, they have multiple that they have multiple perspectives about things in the family. And then you have person B. This person handles everything alone, avoids family, internalizes stress. Now, A and B, there's a big difference here. Now, I want you to imagine that both go through a breakup, a job loss. Okay, we're talking big stuff. We're talking about, or they go through a parenting challenge. Who has more support? Think about it. Think about it. Mm, exactly. Connections, I want you to know this, connections create, write this down. Connections create emotional stability, something we all need. Better coping and stronger relationships. We're going to let that marinate because we need this. We need this. There's no more excuses in life. What I don't want to deal with that anymore. I'm just going to cut it off. Now you have a choice when things are you're in danger and you don't want to be in the proximity of people who are not good for you, of harm. But there are situations in life where we are not taking accountability for our actions. We're not being connected because we are weak within our emotional system. There's no stability. And we're blaming everything on our families because mom didn't. Okay, well, what are you going to learn in this day? What are you going to learn? How are you going to learn to push through a conversation? When are you going to learn that the old patterns are just done away with? This is good. Let's keep it going. When family is not close, it's hard. When families are not close, we often see a long-term effect. Now we think because we cut somebody off yesterday that, I mean, this is serious. Someone might say, I don't deal with my family at all. I've heard this. I know you have. If you've lived as long as I lived, the 40 something years, you know, like that's a lot. But you've heard this. But then they struggle with trust. The fear of an abandonment, or they push people away, and they are just so negative. And it's not random. It's often connected to the unresolved family dynamics. They think it's something that happened because someone didn't pay their money back. No, if you do research, I did research, another research on the American Psychological Association, and it shows that social isolation increased risk of anxiety and depression. So again, here we are. The independence is healthy, but complete disconnection can come with a major cost within the family system. This is good. Let's keep going. In contrast, connected families tend to function better. You think? We see healthier relationships, better outcomes for children, which is very important because I work with children. And I notice, like, I'm a behavior modification specialist. So when I'm working with children, a lot of the things that I see happen within the families. So when you have connected families, you have healthier relationship, it's the better outcomes for the children, more emotional stability, the children are thriving, and these families are intentional. They are intentional. They are intentional. I've seen families, they check in regularly. They show up for events when for their siblings or for their children or just for even in their communities, and we're not going to even go there, but they maintain these communications. They have now to where when you graduate, you can send a link and someone in a different state can watch you graduate. Now, if that isn't consistency, then what do we call, it being intentional? This builds trust. When I know someone from another state has watched me walk across the stage, that feels really, really good. Feel that for a moment. Internalize that. That is real. That is you do the study observation, which is where we are. One thing that stood out in the research, not only the video, because I did more research, families tend to stay the way they start. Did you know that? Did you know that? I'll drink on that one. Families tend to stay the way they start. If they're disconnected, they often stay disconnected. It's just like losing weight, right? You can't lose weight if you don't do the work. If you're connected, you usually stay connected. So this raises the question. Question. What actually causes people to change these patterns? I'm asking you the question, but it's rhetorical. It's because of awareness. Alone isn't always enough. Meaning this. When you have awareness, it outtops being alone. It isn't enough to just be aware either. You have to make effort. You have to communicate. You have to sometimes be and live in discomfort when you're trying and you're growing. That's what these studies show me. You can cut off. I'm alone. You can be intentional and be aware of all these things that are happening. But when you look at both sides, even being aware is not even enough. It takes effort, it takes communication, and sometimes discomfort, which brings me to my next slide. Distance and proximity. Distance does matter, but it's not everything. You can live far away and still be emotionally close. We talked about this today. Or we can live in the same state, live down the street, and be completely disconnected. So the real factor is it's intentionality, being intentional, putting forth the intentional effort. Physical closeness helps, but emotional closeness is built. It's something that we have to put into work. I want to hear from you all, even if you email me later. I want you to tell me, what do you think about people who choose cutoff instead of working through issues in life? I mean, I can tell you what I think. I think that people that cut off sometimes don't want to do the work or they don't know how to do the work. And I think they do it because it is a learned behavior due to vicarious trauma, something we can talk about in another video. Now, I think that was a great point, and I'm pretty sure you had great points. Then they all are aligning with what we see in this theory. We see fear, we see past hurt, we see lack of communication skills. We see all of this. So the question is, I want you to email me later or email Crystal. Why do you think people choose cut off instead of working through issues? I gave you my take. Let's keep going. To conclude, this topic isn't about forcing relationships. There are times when boundaries are just necessary. Distance is protective. But the real question is, am I choosing distance from a place of healing or avoidance? That is the question. Because there is a huge difference. And the difference matters. And I want to leave you with this. We don't just inherit eye color, personality, we inherit emotional patterns. And we have the ability as human beings to either repeat them or we can change them. My final question to you is, can emotional cutoff ever truly resolve family tension? Or does it just show up somewhere else later? Thank you. It's been a pleasure.